Yeah. Welcome to the amazing 4050 Social Club. You're right here with myself, Jamie, and Chris. And today we are going to talk about something that I know a lot of you are going through as a Black family, as a Black man. You are thinking about how you are going to stop loaning your relatives money. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk
Woo!
about some more stuff that is involved with that right here today on the 4050 Social Club.
Welcome to the 4050 Social Club. We are so excited to have you join us today as we talk about the important topics of helping you transition through the ages of 40 to 50. Black men, if you're out there, if you need a resource or reference point to share some time with myself, CJ, and Quest as we take you on different journeys and stories and give you our perspective on how to navigate through the most important years of your life, ranging from relationship to faith to finance to entrepreneurship to corporate America. You name it, we got you. Come join us, Black men, as we talk about some of the most pressing topics you'll want to talk about as you transition between the ages of 40, 50, 4050 Social Club. Let's check out this next topic today. Let's go, y'all.
All right. Let's jump into it. So this whole conversation today, we're going to talk about loaning money to family members and how that feels and how that look, and it's real squishy, it's wet work. We're going to get into some of the dynamics that come with it. But I don't know, y'all, how y'all feel about this whole thing about loaning? What's it been like for y'all when it come to loaning money and family members and all that type of stuff?
Well, for me, it's a situation, it's a conversation, right? Because, a lot of times I guess we feel obligated. And then other times I think we are looking at it as, the family probably understands I got a little bit of money, or you understand who are the family members that have money, quote unquote, just in case something ever happens to you. But a lot of times we never talk about the financial education that comes along with the family as well. So I think there's a lot of, two or three different, dynamics, if not more, that come along with this. But, it never feels good sometimes when loan money out. But at the same time, with it being your family, you just try to help as much as you can.
Yeah. I can't help
Yeah.
but think about, when you got those family outings together, when you got certain family members and whenever you come around, they're gonna be like, can I hold a little something? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, are they
Hmm.
always patting you down? And it
Yeah.
puts you in this mode where you like, I don't even want to come around like that no
True.
more. And you find yourself like start to become a distant family member, like a cousin,
Hmm.
or times two. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel you,
Yeah.
man. But go ahead, CJ. I know you was gonna say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, this topic, I'm really interested in the topic for sure, but I will say long time ago, having had a couple family money issues, just things that come up. And for me, it was back when my grandmother, my paternal grandmother passed away. And just the way I
Mm.
saw very good meaning, good hearted people start to scavenge what little she had in a way that just didn't feel
Hmm.
like it was right. Like at that moment, I kind of said to myself, I've heard people say that getting into money things with family can be really wild and can bring some bad things about. So I kind of made it a point back then, like not to really ask for money, but then also not to lend either, just so we don't wind up having those kind of wild dynamics going around. So what I think I have done though, which is sort of in the middle, and not that I got a ton to be able to give, but if there's somebody who's really struggling with something, I have a relationship with that family member in a way where I want to help them. It's less a loan than it is giving. So I'm going to share this with them like, hey, I've been able to have what I have right now. I'm going to give you this to be able to help you out without the expectation that there's anything in return. Because you know what happens with that. Like we've all been there.
Yeah.
You loan somebody some money, whether it's a family or a friend, you loan them some money. And the next thing you know, because they're down and out, whatever. The next thing you know, they're like blinging out. They're going on vacation. They got some new kicks. They got a new ride, like whatever it is. And you're like, I loaned you some money because you were like in a bad spot. Now I look, you ain't paid me back. And I'm looking at you and you living high on the hog. So it's been one of those things I've tried to kind of stay out of to the degree that I can. And that's just kind of been the way that I try to look at it. But you hear that and some of the B-roll that we're checking out, like, what do y'all think?
Man, we got this one clip we about to share with y'all because I know y'all got somebody in your family that thinks just like this person. They might even be this person, but y'all gotta watch this. We gonna be right back. You gotta check this one out. It's so crazy.
If you owe somebody money or you borrowed money from somebody and you ignoring them, shame on you. You ain't shit. Like, you really got to take into consideration somebody let you borrow money because you was down and they was probably the only one you could really come to borrow that money, and when it came time to pay them back, you making it awkward for them to get their money back. Shame on you, man. Shame on you. Don't be that person, dude. Don't burn your bridges like that, because there's going to be a time when you really need it and they're going to say no. That's why I don't let people borrow money. I don't want to mess with our relationship, but I value this relationship. And if you don't pay me back, I'm going to for sure feel some kind of way. And I'm probably not going to want you around me no more. So I'd rather be the guy that says no, we talk about it later, and we just get it at that. I don't want to be the guy that you owe money to, because I have an awkward way of asking for my money back. Like, I can talk about it right now, like, yo, give me my money back. But I had this awkward feeling when it comes to giving my bread back. I don't know how to, hey, remember that money you owe me? I don't know how to ask for that shit back. That makes sense, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Man, what y'all think? I could probably think of a couple family members, but also when I think about dudes on, feeling funny when it come to money,
Mm,
and that feeling when it's time to give money because you don't want to be disappointed by your
mm,
family member. It's like when you cross that line of I like what you said, CJ. It's almost like you gotta treat your family like church. Like
mm,
you gonna give and you gonna tithe, whatever. You know that, hey, whatever I tithe into my family, I'll get it back. So
mm,
if it don't come back to me, it'll come back to me in a different way. But
mm,
still, that requires a level of maturity that don't everybody have,
mm.
especially because money ain't always something that's easy to get and then give and get it back. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
So
where do you actually stand when it comes to loaning money to your relatives? You got to look at, nearly half of us,
Mm,
47%, we're giving money to our family, but only 41% of us have an emergency savings fund. So that
mm,
means we're giving away money that we don't even have, and that is the trap. That's
mm,
the trap right there. We're not taking the opportunity to really like understand exactly what we have, because our hearts are so into making sure that our family is, like together. And I think I know we're going to talk a little bit later about the dynamic of helping the family too, but to the point before that, think about all the times that you were in situations where you saw your family members helping out each other when you knew that they didn't have anything to help out with, but it was
mm,
just a point that, we trying to stay together. This situation where the family doesn't have a literacy around economics, around
yeah,
finance,
yeah,
but they're still trying to help each other. Like, that's been my, just like my upbringing. I understood that, when I looked at my grandmother and my grandfather and them basically taking me in, that's one situation right there that's financial,
mm,
right? They're
yeah,
taking me in, they're taking they're taking my cousin in, they're taking us in, and we're family members of their family now, right? Like, don't get me wrong,
yeah,
I know it's the whole family, but you understand what I'm saying. So
mhm,
now at this point in time, you still have, my uncle and my aunts and my mom and them still coming back sometimes, asking for some help, and vice versa, where, we're coming to them asking for some help at some point in time too. And we
mm,
all don't have it. We all don't have the money. We just trying to see if there was a little bit of cash you had extra, can you help out over here? And I
mm,
think a lot of times that is what we see in majority of the Black families, right?
mm,
And
yeah,
then you see these other things that we were just talking about. The scenario that you talked about, Jay, where you got a little something, something, everybody kind of looking at you in some ways, because if they need, they know that they can go to their Uncle Jay. Uncle Jay, Uncle
mhm,
Jay, I'm coming to you to get
yeah,
some money,
yeah.
so
That's real.
so and really the question is, at that point in time, what do you do?
Mm.
Well, I mean, I can't help. Okay, hold that thought real quick because this is the other clip we want to show y'all. It's super dope. But dude has a perspective on that that I think we gotta talk about. So check this one out.
Yo, gang, this for all them fake ass family members who just be sitting around having an opinion on your life but never do anything to help you. Family is supposed to help family, not sit back, watch them struggle, and talk shit about them. That's not what family do. So if you're a family member of somebody and you doing that, they not looking at you like family because you're not playing the role of a family member. You moving like you a stranger.
All right. So I feel what dude is saying. You know, if you got family members struggling, we supposed to come in and help.
Mm.
But man, that's still squishy too for me. I feel what dude is saying, and I wish that I could always have that mode of thinking.
Mm.
But sometimes, man, the help needs some help. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
it's like,
Yeah.
when do you start setting healthy boundaries in that way? And so those are
Yeah.
some things I'm thinking about. But I mean, I want to know what y'all thinking about because dude has some good points. We're taught as
Yeah.
a black family that we're supposed to support each other and be there for each other. But at the same time, sometimes it could become abuse.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm glad that we were able to play that one too, because it kind of goes against that first one that we watched that was a little bit funny. Like, hey, you don't lend money to people for these reasons. This other one is essentially coming at it from the, well, I'm the family member who needs this and you got it. When it comes down to me, and Quest, you mentioned the word a little bit earlier, is trust.
Yeah.
Like if this family member's
Yeah.
coming to
Yeah.
me, I got it, they need it. I do want to be open to be able to provide that for them. Where I was really
Yeah.
struggling looking at that particular clip though, because I know that this happens. I've seen this, not in my own family, but I've seen it in others, where the person that has and is able to lend money to people holds it out over folks in a way it's about like maintaining control over people. And
Hey.
he's talking about like don't talk trash about us. If you're gonna give us money, but don't look down upon us when you do it. So again, we're
Yeah.
talking about like relationships that exist in families. If you have a family where the person that has is looking down on you like that, you're not gonna want to be under their thumb anyway. So I guess for me,
Yeah.
when I looked at that, I was particularly struck at understanding that every family dynamic is gonna be different. And if you're in one of those where you have somebody who's looking down on you and is like trying to control you with their money like that, I can understand where there be some real issues there.
Man,
Yeah.
I,
What you
I
think,
gotta
Quest?
I gotta be real vulnerable at this point in time because I think after looking at both of these, I can kind of understand from both scenarios. So in the first one, talking about just don't loaning money getting money from somebody in the family and then just not paying them back and not giving them an update and not letting them know what's going on. It wasn't a family member, but it was a guy that I consider my friend.
Mm,
And man, I had took some money from him, and I say take because that's really what it was, right?
mm,
Like, let's just
mm,
be honest about it.
Mm.
I took some money from him, and I didn't pay him back for years, years,
Man,
years, years,
mm,
years, years,
mm,
to the
I
point
felt
where
that.
in some
yeah,
ways my boys were talking about it. And for me, it was on me to be accountable for that. And
mm,
I paid him back. I did. I paid him back and more. I gave
mm,
more to him just because of my own guilt, right?
mm,
And
mm.
that was it.
Right.
That was exactly what it was. It was my own guilt. You
Well,
know
here,
what I'm
I want
saying?
to ask you something while you're still on this point
Yeah.
too. I want you to talk because you're in this moment right now, and I just want to feel this with you. Talk about the
Yeah.
Yeah.
strain that put on y'all's relationship. Like you just mentioned having that
On
guilt. You
everything,
mentioned
man. I
it took a
feel
Mm.
few
like
years for you to do that. And Jay was like, I felt that.
it's
I felt that too, because we
Yeah.
both been
yeah.
there where we understand
Yeah.
that. But just talk to us about that feeling, what that was like, and
Yeah,
what that
yeah.
meant to y'all's
It
relationship until you paid
wasn't
it back.
well, me and him don't really have a relationship now,
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
all. And I'm sure it was because of that. But even in it was the lies. I was the lies that I was telling
Mm,
and things like that. And I could see that that was the reason why the relationship strained. But it definitely got, bad after I had asked him and asked him again and asked him again, right? Like,
mm,
and this is me just being honest because, you be able to help people and you want them to see that you're not, everyone has their small imperfections.
yeah.
And this was mine, at that point in time when this was happening. And to get to a point where I understood that I had what I needed to give to this young man at that
Mm,
time. Yeah, it took a burden off of me, but think about everything that he might have been going through
mm,
during that. in that time frame. You know, the money that he missed during that because essentially he helped me out and I didn't, go back to him and say, hey, let me firm this up on the date that I told you I was going to firm this up, right? So I can
Yeah.
see a lot of strain in that and just turning that back into the other point here, that the other role, I mean the other B role that we were looking at just now, and that is, like at the same time I learned something really good from that, and that was that I have to be able to be prepared in these situations, or I shouldn't even think about doing it. It
Mm.
may not be fair.
Mm,
It may
That's a
not be
great
fair
point.
to others. It may not be fair to others that I, try to take on their levity when I know that I can't. And I
Mm.
think I learned a lot of
mm.
that from that situation, and that's helped me. To your point, Chris, talking about like, in some ways how lending money out. You never really try to lend it. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Really never
Yeah.
a situation to borrow, but
Mm.
more a situation of now at this point in time, like, I'm gonna give you money because I know I got it, and I'm
Mm.
not looking for you to give it back to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I,
And
I
that's
I
just
hate
that's
that. Jeez.
Mm.
Sorry, man. I ain't
yeah,
mean to cut you off. I just hate that.
Yeah.
I hate
yeah.
the
It
Speak
was a
on it,
power that
Jay.
money
bad
Speak on
thing.
it,
has
Kim.
over I just hate the power that money has over relationship.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
Mm.
this one thing has so much power,
Yeah,
and I think it's the one thing that
Mm.
we take for granted and we put so much value in at the same time. You know what I mean? You got
Mhm.
one thing that you could take for granted and put so much value and power in at the same time. I don't think there's too many things that you can do that outside of friendships. And that
Mhm.
one
yeah,
thing tears friendships up. I've had the same situation happen to me. Grew up with this one boy thick as thieves and
Mm.
over the smallest amounts of money we no longer really have a relationship, we don't have a relationship at all. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And it's like,
Mm.
dang,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, never get that back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, that story that you shared, questions took me there. I'm like, man,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
if I
man.
wish I could wipe the slate clean and not even have money be a thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
still I still can't get that relationship back. And it's like the cat owe me money. And I'm like, where the relationship at? I don't care about that. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But for what, like you say, guilt, shame, and all those things will just
Yeah.
ruin years of brotherhood, So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
That's
can't
real.
yeah.
Well, there's something you're saying there that's bringing a thought to mind for me too. And I kind of mentioned before where money with family just got like real out of pocket for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm vowing not to have to do this again. And again, listen to both of you all and the feelings that come up and like how money becomes a thing. It makes
Yeah,
me want to talk a little bit about what happened in this experience. So my grandmother passed away and my dad had passed away. There were three children, my dad and both of my aunts. Only one of my aunts is still alive, and my dad had also passed. So you're talking two of my grandmother's three children were gone, and each of the children had children, right? So the grandchildren, what happens when your grandmother passes away, that money then goes to her children, but because two of her three children were gone, that share then wound up going to me and to one of my other cousins who had lost his aunt. I lost my dad. And my aunt, and I love my aunt to death. I really, really do. But I'll never forget when she asked, she's like, well, don't you think we should split it four ways among the siblings, among the cousins, because she had two kids? And I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, I wasn't that upset that she asked me because I know like money can do crazy things, but I was like, you're asking me to split this share in part because my dad ain't here. I would love to be able to not have this third that is coming my way because I wish my dad was here. But just being
right.
asked that question, I talked to my other cousin too, and he felt the same way. And we both just had that thing at that moment, like, you know what though? We know this isn't coming from a bad place, but there's so much emotion that's wrapped up in this. Like, hey, if this can bring us to the point of being like that pissed off about something where it could have fractured a relationship forever, I can't allow that to creep into ways that I may not be able to control.
Yeah.
I,
It's
yeah.
difficult to understand that, our family members are coming to us in this way the
Mm.
first time that they do it ever, right? Because it's unsuspecting. But I
Mm.
go back to that whole thing that we're talking about here, Chris, and that is the fact that trust is the motivator.
Mm.
Trust should be the
Yeah.
motivator. Trust should be the thing that allows for you
Mm.
to, be be worthy of asking in some ways. And it should start with you in some ways, right? You know what I'm saying? And and
Yeah.
and we'll save that a little bit for later, but that's where the hurt also comes from too. The hurt also comes from when you're sitting back and you're saying, "Damn, I trusted my cousin, I trusted my brother. I wouldn't even think that they would come to me in a way like this. My dad then just passed away and this didn't happen and everything like that. Now you coming at me talking about like this, like it would it feels crazy. But like you said, they may have been just coming from a good place. They just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Right.
not the
You don't
way to
know.
do that. You know what I'm saying? That probably
Yeah.
wasn't the way to do that.
Yeah.
And all at the same time, I guess what is a good thing to understand here also is that there is opportunity to talk with your family around,
Yeah.
just the feeling of money so that they understand the
Yeah.
levity too.
Yeah, and I was gonna hit the. I'm right there with you, Quest. I think it's not. It's trust is one thing, but then also, trust can be broken. We get that, and typically when money comes, trust is probably broken more often than not. But it's also having healthy boundaries, especially if you're the one
Hmm.
that's the giver. And so, I believe, you can help somebody, but then you have to recognize when does my help now become a weapon? And understanding, I'm all good with helping somebody that's trying to help themselves, but I have a hard time, man, when you're helping somebody repeatedly and they're just spiraling in the same way and coming back to you like you're an ATM, and it's just like, what are you doing? What agency are you having? What are you doing? Because they say what? It's all about doing, right? So it's not about just asking. It's also about doing. And I feel when the doing isn't happening, that's when it's like, all right, and I'm curious to get you all's thoughts on that, but I know Tyler got a few things that he wants to say about an experience in this B-roll clip that we want to share with y'all on a family member and how he addressed that situation in Atlanta.
Family, how do y'all struggle with that tension?
I fired my aunt.
Right. I feel it.
I fired my aunt. She said she wanted a job. She would always call asking for money. I'm like, okay, I was sending the money. I was like, listen, I want to help you. I don't want to help you build this thing, not be welfare to you. So let me give you a job. She wasn't coming in, calling in all the time. I was like, okay, well you got to go, because you want me to hand you the money, but you don't want to work for it. See, that doesn't work for me. And it's the same way with my son. Like, he's 10 years old. Like, there's certain things that he wants. He has to do chores and work for it. I don't believe in giving us things that are just going to handicap us. That is the worst thing you can do. And I've had family members that I've done that to because my mother has asked me to. And when she passed away in 2009, I sent all of them letters saying, listen, you got 60 days to become gainfully employed because I'm not going to keep supporting you like this.
Are you serious?
100%. They all got jobs. Yep. And it wasn't even jobs where they're making a lot of money, but it was a job. It was something else for them to do, to feel some pride in. That's the same thing I would want somebody to do for me.
But do you still get like the backsplash from that? You know how you said they wasn't making a lot of money, then they can look at you and say, well, why not? I can't have more? Why am I working next to somebody to make more?
I have family members got mad at me because I wouldn't give them $1 million. You got to watch the family members that come putting holes in the boat when you're trying to get across the sea. So sometimes you build a boat by yourself. Y'all all wait over here on the shore. Stay here. I'm building this boat. I'm going to go over and build this, and then I'm going to come back and see who's worthy to come. Because anybody who's going to drag you down or put holes in the boat or try to destroy you, man, why bring them over?
All right, so what y'all think?
I
Tyler wasn't
wanna,
playing. Tyler wasn't
I
playing.
just wanna, I just want to start out by saying this, and I'm gonna say this, and I hope that it doesn't offend anybody. But even if it does, I'm okay with that too. Number one, you are in a family with family members, people that you call family members. You doing stupid stuff is just not what you really want to do. Because listen, I've heard so many different stories from, family members telling lies on other family members just so that they can make sure that they have money or whatever like that, to a whole situation where a whole part of the family is not talking to the other part of the family and they haven't talked in decades. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Succession.
All
Yeah.
because all because of this money. But I gotta be honest with you. I agree in some ways. We all are working towards the common goal here. And if you
Yeah.
can't work, and if you can't work, and if you can't understand the work we trying to do, I
Right.
don't know. You might not deserve this money.
Yeah.
Cause what you just gonna be sitting down. That's you know what it's like? It's like a child or it's like a person because grown folks do this shit too. It's like a person that decides that they don't want they want you to pick up after them
Oh,
Yeah.
in
Hey,
your
well,
house, not
yeah.
theirs. It's the same. It's almost the same logic there. What you mean?
mm,
You gonna sit here and do nothing and do whatever you want all day and all that stuff and think that we supposed to give you money at the end of the day? Nah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
nah,
yeah.
that's
Which
not
No,
I
gonna
mean,
work.
really.
it's it works both ways. Children
yeah,
do it too. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it hits from both ends. But I definitely feel you on that, man. I definitely feel you on that. What you got, CJ?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Tyler Perry ain't my favorite. You know what I mean? Like I got my issues
Yeah.
with some of the things, but I will say one thing. He knows how to make some money, right? Like that, you
Yeah.
cannot take that away from what he's
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
do. And so
Yeah.
I went into that B
Printing
roll kind
money.
of like, what's this cat going to tell me? And by the time it was done, I was like, all right, I don't necessarily have to be a fan to look at that and be like, it makes a lot of sense though. To hear what that is, because where we're starting to get at too, especially when you're somebody who has ends to that degree, is to what point, and this gets to what you were also talking about, Jay. It's like at what point do you just start spoiling people? Because that's not what the
Yeah.
product of this is supposed to be either. Like love inspires you to want to do for people, but there comes a point where you know you're actually making it worse for that person to live independently by not teaching them
Right.
some lesson. So it's like, when do you get to that point where you do learn to cut folks off, where you come to that limit and how you have that conversation? That's a whole nother level of thing. But in principle, I have to agree with what I just heard.
Yeah. And they say money brings out the worst in people. And it's
Mm,
unfortunate that that happens. So I imagine if anybody's a family member of Tyler Perry's family, they probably looking like, okay, we don't really need to work. So
mhm.
why you got a problem with us not working?
But then you have a situation. You have a situation. I hear you too, because that's funny. I hear you. But then you have a situation like LeBron James, right? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring him up just to say like it wasn't his family,
LeBron.
but
Uh,
look at his friend. Look at what he did with his friends.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
That was
He
special.
sent his friend. Listen, if I
Yeah,
send my
man.
friend back to school and to
Come
get an
on.
education so
Mm,
that because he already had the smarts, he already had the
Yeah.
strategy and the
yeah,
intelligence, he just need a little bit more. If I am investing in you to do something and you
yeah,
come back and you got it together, guess what? That
yeah.
just helped us out. But if
We
you
all
come
good.
back from that shit and you
Yeah.
done decided that you didn't want to do nothing but sit on your
Yeah.
ass,
Right.
yeah, that's it
Yeah.
for me, bro. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think people have to understand that that part is the part of trust. That is the
Mhm,
part too. You
Yeah.
know
mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we sat down and talked about a foundation. You went off and tried, and I thought you was doing something that you told me that you was doing because that's your word. And no, that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
heartbreaking to me. But to
Yeah.
come back and see that it went the other way and it went in a positive direction, well, I'm
Yeah.
with that. That's what's up.
What
It gets no better than that.
he's like the top agent or something in the whole world or something like that. He's
Yeah.
like
Man,
super paid.
Yeah.
it's like 6 or 7 of his friends,
They all
that
elite status.
Yeah. Yeah.
they
That's
all are at
amazing.
least that. So
That's dope.
and I
That's
know
so dope.
we about to go to something else real quick here in just a moment for people to see and talk about. But I want you right now, if you're watching us in the comments,
Mm,
just drop some things right
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that you
Yeah.
think that can
mm,
help build families right now. Just drop
Yeah.
something in the comments right now so that
mm.
we can see that. But Jay, hey, roll that other one, that Carter Cofield one. I want them to see this one so that they understand what we talk about when we talk about building now. Roll
That's
that
what's
one.
up. That's what's up. Let's do this. All right, here we go.
A family legacy meeting. So I bring my family together, my aunts, my cousins, my brothers, my sister, my wife, her brother, everybody. Let's go. We're going to get in this room. And there's 2 requirements. Before you show up, I need to make sure your credit profile is up, right? So you're going to come, we want to see your credit. You got to have an LLC as well. So we set your LLC up before you even come to the meeting. Everybody that's at that meeting, we're looking at the profiles. Whoever has the best credit profile, we're going to add them onto the LLC, and then we're going to go get funded. So now we're going to create partners. I personally may not have the best credit, but if I have the strategy, I can bring you on and still make money with you, right?
Right.
I did this with my cousin. He worked 50, 60 hours. He's a correctional officer, right? All he knows is just work, 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 pay his bills, but he's not creative when it comes to financial literacy and like credit strategies, right? Opened up his credit profile. He had an 800 credit score, didn't even know it. Put him on my business as an operating on an operating agreement, got him $45,000 in 24 hours. He was like, damn, I want more, let's do that again. So I said his business, I said, I want to set you up though. Got his business set up, compliant, got him $250,000 in funding. Guess what? He's now an investor in my facilities now. He just got the bag. I call you up, I say, yo, we need 80,000 to put down on this facility, you're gonna be a partner with me, right? So again, if you don't have the credit, as long as you have the information and the strategy, you now have to pull people together.
Man, you laid that one up so perfectly. You said building. You know, I think, you know, as he was talking about buildings, that guy is off the chain. Nothing but the utmost respect for him. But I can't help but think about this one layer that I keep hearing is having that conversation, what he was exposed to very early in life, the
Yeah.
exposure, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that's something that, especially generationally as Black people, we don't have those conversations like that, or we do, but not to the extent where it gets in our body and in our DNA, and we like, boom, boom, boom. I'm setting my children up before they even hit 18. They don't have to worry about it, or they can buy their first house when they graduate from high school. Things like that. Like, those are things that are not necessarily talked about, you know? So I just think it's about when are we having those conversations and when are we actually living into the conversation? Like, having the conversation is one thing, but living into legacy, living into building something, I think is the one thing that's missing.
Well, what's interesting about it to me too is you think about the Black community. We are, when you look at all the different races and ethnicities that are out there, we know that it's been said for us that even though we are a community that's strong together in certain ways, we don't really understand how to come together economically. And I for whatever reasons, that's kind of where we are. But I do find like the podcasts that are out there right now, what we're doing here and the kind of knowledge we're trying to get, Jamie and you and I, we're part of this financial partnership that we, after decades, we decided we were finally going to do. Like we're all starting to have enough experiences out there where we know a little bit of something. Some of us know a lot of bit of something. And we're starting to pool that knowledge together, really understand what that means. Like I remember being a kid growing up on the South Side, and I would hear people talking about what it meant to economically control all the stores that were happening in my neighborhood. And it didn't mean anything to me at that point. Like I understood it as some
Right.
sort of philosophy that was supposed to mean something. When I thought about my everyday, it didn't mean anything to me then. Here I am, decades after that, I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd understood that at the time. But I also didn't have an adult that I trusted who knew enough about that to start to impart that kind of wisdom into me. So when I think about
Right,
40,
right,
50,
right.
and what we're doing right now, we're trying to say, hey, we're at that point right now. Again, it's not that we know everything, but we know a hell of a lot more than was passed down to us. And we're trying to take
Yeah.
that and pass that down to what's next and coming after us. So like to me, I go there, but then I also go to when I come back to Carter Cofield, man, they're asking for some sensitive things in there. You know, you start talking credit
Yeah.
scores and bank accounts and all that. That's
Yeah.
that takes a lot of bravery to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. It does. And I think it's something that we don't really feel comfortable talking about,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? And imagine being able to sit down and just say, okay, what's your score? What's in your wallet?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you got it. I mean, that's a no. I I think I can talk about that a little bit. Let's look at some numbers. Let's just talk about numbers right now, right? 41% of Black Americans right now don't have sufficient emergency savings. Okay,
Mm,
if some financial shock happened right now, you know, only 41% of Black Americans have some sort of sufficient
Mhm.
mm,
emergency savings.
yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
when you
That's
think
starting to
about when you
struggle.
think about that, that is crazy. And then think about another number. Think about the median income at only $56,000
Mm,
for a Black
Yeah.
household.
mm,
Household, okay?
yeah.
You know, where it's more than one person. That's kind of crazy when you
Mm,
think about that number. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think about that, and then we're talking about now the family. trying to invest together, trying to be together, trying to understand that together. We have to come from the financial and come over to the emotional first and deal with that. And that's what we were just saying. How do you deal with the people thinking in your family that you're going to belittle them or that you're going to control
Yeah.
them or that they're not enough or that their credit score is not good enough and them feeling less than? If you're
Yeah, yeah.
listening right now, you have to understand that as a family, you have to endure those things together. You have to be
Yeah.
able to, sit down with whatever
Mm.
lies that you've told or whatever situations that you have in some ways brought yourself in. And you guys got to figure that out. Y'all got to sit down and y'all got to hash some of that out to understand that the greater good at this point in time is to get the family unit to a place where they can start earning like you've heard just recently. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And understanding why that is important. Because if we teach this financial literacy now, not just to our kids, but to our family members, we're able to actually get more things into our families under that legacy that we are trying to focus on. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? We're able to cement that. But first, it has to start with that first conversation. That first conversation that is very vulnerable. That first conversation that a lot of people would almost say looks like marriage when y'all coming together and y'all saying, "Hey, let me see your finance. Let me see." Well, that
Yeah.
should have already been done in your family too, as well. But
Yeah.
because we have so much of this emotion, this pride, towards who we are, and we don't want to get off of our even like
Yeah.
even looking at people that have PhDs, right? But they ain't got no money coming
Yeah.
to other family members, asking
Yeah,
them for
yeah.
money. Well, actually, they're doing it. They're asking you for money. Let's see why, right? And let's see what we can do to help them to make some money here. The people that basically, in some ways, got this big brain, which they do, right? Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. You coming to me with all this, I got a PhD, blah, 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 and trying to be prideful in that area. I'm not gonna be one. I'm not really gonna be willing
Yeah,
to give
yeah.
you no money.
Yeah,
Sure,
You know
sure,
what
yeah,
I'm
sure.
saying? But
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
know what I'm trying to say here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I hear in that is, and that I think the entire conversation has been kind of floating around this already, and it just became clear to me as I was hearing you speak. What we're really talking about is the quality of the relationship outweighing what the
Yeah.
money means. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
And
yeah.
again, I can say this from my own self with family. There have definitely been times where the money outweighed that relationship. If that's the case, and if it's imbalanced like that, that means there are things happening in this relationship where this money is going to wind up making this a hell of a lot worse than it is right now. So I'm not going to get into that transaction. If it's here though,
Mm.
where the money and what we're talking about here, the relationship, the trust that's there, the transparency we're able to have with each other, the sharing of the resources with one another, our knowledge, our physical resources, like all that. If that is here, we've been working to build that up, then this money thing naturally just kind of falls down the ladder and it doesn't wind up being as important. So again, to me, as I was hearing that, that just kind of stood out to me. When that imbalance exists and money is on top, at least for me, that might be my rule. Like I can't get into there because if things happen with this relationship, that this is going to go sour. But if I've
Yeah.
worked on
Yeah.
this and it's at a point where it's strong, no matter who that family member is, no matter who that friend might be, I know that this is a place that we can go.
Man, this has been so rich. So rich. I feel like we
Man,
could keep
I
going on this
we
one. It's
could
been
I,
so
and
rich.
I don't want
No
to keep
pun
going, but
intended.
I just really want to make up one more point and then I'm gonna let it be. And this point that we just made, Chris, what you just said, Jay, what
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
a little earlier about it is very important. I want us to understand that we really put a lot into finding relationship in people. And
Mhm.
you should really think about what that means when it comes to finance as well. Because if I can be vulnerable in these ways, in these actions that allow me to open up myself to you in other areas that are not financial, I should think about how to be able to do that too, because it's the same action. It is the same
Mm.
action. It's the same action of being accountable. It's the same action of being vulnerable. And it's okay for you to say, I ain't got it if you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have it,
Yeah.
instead of trying to carry it on. And then a week later, your ass is here trying to get a loan from somebody, not telling your family that that's what you had to do to support
Right.
them, right? You know, that's one scenario. Or you, the person that got it, and hey, I don't have that for you right now,
Right.
right?
Right,
We
right, right.
have, you know, a lot of us
Yeah, yeah, sure.
don't have it all to say that, but we need to. We need to, because when you give it just because of the simple fact that you're gonna feel guilty, you're not gonna have it, and your ass is gonna be in the same situation. It's about helping, and helping is saying, "Hey, you are my family member. I ain't got this right now, and this is why. But maybe we can try to figure it out and make it better for both of us." So,
Sure.
or whatever that needs to be, but we got to start having that conversation because it's not going to allow us to get any better at
Yeah.
having finances across the board for our family members, for us even individually, if we can't be honest about where we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. Whew. Well, we not done. This is one of many financial conversations that we'll have, and we'll continue to have them. But we want to say thank y'all for this another round episode of 4050 Social Club. I'm not even going to try to say anything else because we didn't killed it all. We didn't said it all. And we'll bring it back to y'all next time. Y'all be good. Y'all be well and be good to each other. Catch y'all on the next one.
Happy Black History Month.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
here we
right. Happy
go.
Black History
February.
Month. Let's get it. All right, y'all.
Well, there you have it. Another epic episode of 4050 Social Club, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. Subscribe on YouTube, click that button below. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all social media platforms. We are here to help Black men transition through the most impressionable years of your life, your 40s and 50s. Don't feel as though you're out here alone. We're here with you to share our stories and our journey. So let's get to it, y'all. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And until then, be well, friends. Peace.